So that's how I set up. And what I'll do is the rifle targets that have like circles and increasing yardage circles, increasing value rings is what I should say. So let's say I have my 10 ring, then my 9 ring, then my 8 ring, so on. It gets bigger gradually and gradually. What I'll do is I won't move on to the next yard line until I fire 3 arrows into the ring I'm aiming at. And this is how I'm going to explain myself. So I'm shooting at 10 yards. I'll shoot 3 arrows. If I get it in that 10 circle, then I'm good. I'll move to 15. I'll shoot 3 arrows from 15 yards. If I shoot 3 arrows into the 9 circle, then I'm good. I'll move out to 20 yards. So if I shoot 3 arrows into the 8 ring, then I'm good. I'll keep moving and moving back. You owe it to yourself in that game that you're trying to harvest to be able to hit a pie plate, a normal paper plate, repeatedly, every time, before you get into the woods, before you try to hunt with this thing. So you got to shoot a compound bow, shoot any bow takes practice. All right, so get into the range, get in the woods, and get that practice in. Know how to judge distances and know how to engage at those distances. A lot of people shoot 3D targets or whatever have you. You don't have to go out and buy a 3D target to shoot. You can shoot a hay bale. You can shoot into the bank. You can shoot anything. But like I said, you need to use different yardages and come down at the 5-yard intervals. And once you feel that you're comfortable at that yardage, move back. And once you get to your end of your comfort zone, then you just keep practicing. You just keep doing that routine over and over again. But that's how I have my ranges set up. Start it from 10, go 5-yard increments until I get to 45. And like I said, 40 is my comfort zone. I'll go a little past it just to see if I can do it. And when I know I can do it, then I can engage if I have to pass it as well. So one key thing to think about whenever you're hunting or whenever you're practicing, you don't want to shoot your bow when you get fatigued. Right? Perfect practice makes perfect, not practice makes perfect. So shoot your bow perfectly every time. Obviously, I know you're not going to be perfect every time. I'm not perfect every time. But what I mean is, focus on your fundamentals. Your bow is straight up and down, your anchor point, your natural point of aim, your breath control, your trigger squeeze, all that stuff. Make sure it's as perfect as you can get every time, and focus on the fundamentals. If you start slinging sticks, like 50 sticks in an hour, trying to just send arrows into a target, that's not going to do you any good, because one, you'll get fatigued, you'll lose those fundamentals, and you're doing it way too quick. You need to slow it down, make sure everything's good, all your side pictures good, and squeeze your release. But make sure it's right. Don't rush through things. Don't buy a bow and then go to the range one day and then you're good to go hunt. That's not how it works. And sighting a bow takes time, and I'm going to show you how to sight it in and what to do here in a little bit. But one thing I want you to take away from this is perfect practice. Okay, don't shoot it when you're all fatigued. Slinging sticks isn't going to make you a better bow marksman, I should say. Now, like I said, you want to have a background to your target. So if you're shooting a 3D target, that's a small piece. So if you miss it, you want to have a backstop in the back. That could be hay bales, it could be a bank or something, anything that'll stop your arrow, so you don't have to go snaking through the grass, through the leaves to find it. You want to have a safe backdrop at the other end of your target, just so it can catch your arrows if you have to. There's 4 weapon safety rules that the Marine Corps has taught me, and it applies to everything. All right? There's 4 weapon safety rules I want to talk about. Treat, never, keep. All right? Right there. Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Never point the weapon you do not intend to shoot. Anything you do not intend to shoot. Keep your finger straight off your trigger until you're ready to fire. And keep your weapon on safe until you intend to fire. Right? And there's a 5th one. Know your target and what's beyond it. All right? That applies with anything, firearm or bow. All right? That can mean everything. Never point your weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. Keep your finger straight off the trigger until you're ready to fire. So don't be pulled back and have your finger on there and like itching to pull. Keep it off until you're ready to fire. Obviously there's no safety. Pulling back is your safety on a bow. And then treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Obviously nothing's going to happen right now, but weapon safety rules apply to bows and to firearms as well. My favorite one is know your target and what's beyond it. Before you go hunting and before you release an arrow, you want to make sure you have positive identification on your target, on your game that you're going to harvest. You want to know what's beyond it. You don't want to have another hunter on the other side. And the same goes with just shooting target practice. You don't want to have another house on the other side if you're in an urban environment. You don't want to be shooting arrows at a 3D target with a chest this big and there's kids playing in the yard past it. Alright? So have a safe backdrop that can catch arrows in case you miss. That's one key thing that I want you to take away from that. What I want to talk about real quick is these arrows that I got right here. If you go to like a Dick's Sporting Goods or any bow specialty store, hunting store, anything like that, you go in and you talk to the guy who works there, and he'll cut your arrows to your draw length. He'll make your bow. He'll set your peep sight, your kisser button, your release. He'll set even your arrow rest just to make sure everything's in line, everything's in tune. And now I'm going to talk about nocking an arrow. Right? As you can see, I have 3 veins on this arrow. One of them is a different color, and that will be for every factory-made arrow that you get. All right, it will have this indicator fletching, an indicator vein right here. All right, unless you put your own on, and if you do, I recommend still have an indicator vein because how you knock it has to be the same every time. For me, for this whisker biscuit, how a whisker biscuit is set up, that indicator vein has to be straight up and down. All right, as you can see, that's straight. All right. On a regular arrow, or on a regular rest, a lot of them, the knock vein, you have to knock your arrow with that indicator vein going off to the side. Alright, so that's why I recommend going to a specialty store where they can set it up because they know what is best. Alright, for the type of setup you have, and they will hook you up. So my indicator vein goes straight up and down. Like I said, some of them point out. It will never point in. Alright. And what I want to talk about is taking from the range and putting it into play into the woods. Right? So what I mean by that is anyone can shoot known distances, anybody. What it takes is judgment for your distance and choosing your pin to effectively engage and to effectively hunt. So what you're going to do is you got to practice shooting at your ranges from known distances. And how you can do that, you can either get a rangefinder or you can just step it off. One step, one human step, just like that, one right foot or one left foot, however it is 1 yard. So count your steps to your target. That's how many yards away. Choose the right pin that you are, and then engage. Taking it into the woods, and what I'm going to show you here in a little bit is how to get your judgment, your range estimation in check, and your pin selection in check. And you also have to think about overhanging branches, little brush that you might have to shoot through. And I'm telling you what, if you have to try to poke through any brush with an arrow, I wouldn't take the shot because any brush is going to make that arrow deflect, ricochet off of it. It's not going to have the same important impact that you want it to go. So I want it to have. And how we're going to do this is, when the fall comes around and the leaves change, leaves fall to the ground, and maple leaves they turn bright yellow. And in the woods, how I do it, I walk like along a creek bank, and on the other side of the bank, I pick out a target, just at random times throughout the woods, throughout my trek, throughout my scout, whatever I'm doing, and I'll see a maple leaf or any leaf that stands out to me on the other side of the bank. And what I'll do is I'll make sure I have a safe background, and I'll pull back and I'll judge the distance to that target, and I'll engage it. And if I hit it, I'll shoot one arrow at it because that's probably all you'll get at a target. And if I hit it, good job. If not, then I'll learn from it. So that's how I take it into the woods, how I get some trigger time. At the same time, you can take that, you can go scouting. Just like I said, you go scouting and you can do it at the same time. If you're not seeing anything, seeing any tracks or whatever, any rubs, scrapes, then you just get some trigger time and get some practice in, and you're good to go. But